Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Tennessee's got a pretty big football game coming up on Saturday, 3:30 CBS, going on the road to play Missouri. I feel like this is a pretty big game. You know, they always say the biggest game's the next game, but I feel like this is the entire season kind of hinges on this game going on the road to play Missouri. Kind of funny to word it that way, but when you look at it, you know, you got to win this football game if you're going to go win 9 or 10 games. I think some of the people in this fan base, if Josh Heupel goes 8-4, I think that is a huge step back. I think that is a failure. What is a success to you? Does Tennessee need to win 9 games, 10 games in year 3 for you to consider this a success? Look, we all knew we were going to take a step back this season, but I still think we need to go win 9 games. That's my number, and it starts on Saturday against Missouri. But I want to take a little break. Look, we will continue to talk Tennessee, Missouri as the week goes on, but I want to take a little break and talk recruiting. It's been a while since we have talked some Tennessee Vols recruiting, and the reason for that is it's kind of been quiet. You got to go all the way back to August the 21st. That's the last commit that Tennessee got from 5-star edge rusher Jordan Ross. They were right on the outside of the top 5 according to On3. Now they're slowly sliding down. They're sitting at 12th according to the On3 industry rankings. And look, there's still some guys out there, still some targets out there that Tennessee could pull that are going to kind of swing those rankings back. Obviously, it starts for me with the big offensive tackle from IMG Academy, Jordan Seaton. He's coming off of a visit to Colorado, but this thing, it's wide open. It's going to take so many twists and turns. In the words of Austin Price, it's going to go all the way down to the wire. You've got Ohio State, Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, but I think Tennessee is in that one. I think Tennessee has a shot to land a legitimate offensive tackle in Jordan Seaton, and if they do, I think you really got to praise Glenn Ellerbe for what he would be able to do in this class of 24 on the offensive line. Some other guys, big name for me is Kai Bates. Yeah, he committed to LSU. The conversation is still taking place with Tennessee. Supposed to be in town for the Georgia game. They have an opportunity to swing a big-time prospect in Kai Bates. Daniel Hill, 4-star running back, his recruitment is still wide open. So I think Tennessee still has a shot to get inside the top 5, but it has been kind of quiet lately. But I want to talk about this guy today. 4-star athlete Cam Michael. He's listed as a DB on some profiles, athlete on others, wide receiver on others. Tennessee is recruiting Cam Michael to be a wide receiver, but you can see there on the screen, November the 23rd is when I will be picking my home for the next 3 to 4 years. So where is Tennessee at in this thing? He's coming off of a visit to Athens. How much is that impacting his decision? When will he be in Knoxville? And also Coach Prime is in the mix. We're going to get into it and we're going to talk about it. But as always, do me a favor, smash that thumbs up just below the video. It's quick, free, and easy. It helps this channel, and I would greatly appreciate it. Also, if you're new to the Talkin VAWLS Network, welcome. Now, we're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media. We don't talk at you here. We talk with you. This channel is for the fans, by the fans. If you enjoy the content, make sure you subscribe. Click that bell for notifications. You won't miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. Quick reminder, schedule change. NCAA night will not be tonight. We're going to do that on Thursday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. And then we're also going to be live tomorrow, Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. We'll break down this Tennessee-Missouri game coming up on Saturday. But let's talk about Cam Michael. If you're not familiar with who he is, 4-star athlete listed as a DB, but again, Tennessee recruiting him to play wide receiver. How much is that a factor ultimately in where he ends up? You can see 6 foot, 180 pounds out of Statesboro, Georgia. He's a top 100 prospect. This is a guy that will move the needle. 91 overall player, top 10 defensive back, one of the top 15 players out of the state of Georgia. You go look at who he is, what he does, the scouting report from 247 Sports, wiry two-way athlete with top flight speed markers. That is something that this coaching staff has done a great job is, you know, we talk about closing the talent gap between Tennessee and Alabama, Tennessee and Georgia. A lot of it is SEC speed. It says he's clocked one of the fastest 40-yard dash times at the 2023 National Combine and is a 3-time state qualifier in the 100-meter dash. Sign me up for that. Get that speed in this Josh Heupel offense, and let's go. We've already seen the speed that they've added in Braylon Staley in this class of 24. We've seen the legitimate threat that Mike Matthews is. Now let's add Cam Michael at that wide receiver position where he is a 3-time state qualifier in the 100-meter dash. That's how you change the game. Speed. You can't teach it. You either got it or you don't. Says he placed third in the Georgia 6A meet as a sophomore with a personal best of 10.5. 10.5 in the 100 meters. Says he lined up at quarterback, wide receiver, running back on Friday nights and found success in those roles, but is viewed as a lot of schools as a defensive back at the next level. Says he's got excellent short area quickness, is an overall fluid mover with obvious burst, does a nice job keeping his eye on the quarterback while working at corner as he fills out routes and fights for positioning. Willing to make a tackle in space, but improved technique will likely make it easier to get a much larger ball carriers to the ground. A threat to score anytime the football finds his hands as he strings cuts together and does his best take away angles from defenders. Should be viewed as a perimeter playmaker that can impact games in a variety of different ways. Could very well emerge as a slot receiver on Saturdays that offensive coordinators favor on swing passes and jet sweeps. Says he got a longer frame that's over 6 foot. Might be valued more in the secondary at the program of his choice. NFL upside. So Cam Michael, a lot of schools recruiting him as a defensive back. Tennessee recruiting him as a wide receiver. But the bottom line is get these guys on campus. Right, I was having this conversation this week with Coach Jay talking about Boo Carter. Boo Carter, outstanding athlete. Seeing him in person, man, he is impressive with the football in his hands. And I know Tennessee is recruiting him as a defensive back. But guess what? You get him on campus and you decide to try him at wide receiver, you got all kinds of options, man. You got all kinds of options. Just because you recruit this kid to come play wide receiver or defensive back, you can move him around wherever you want to move him. This is from on3.com. Says another top 100 prospect set to come off the board at the end of November. 4-star corner Cam Michael announced on social media he will be committing on Thanksgiving, November the 23rd, choosing between Tennessee, Colorado, South Carolina, Kentucky, Texas A&M, and Georgia. Sounds to me like all the buzz is around the Vols, around Coach Prime, and around the Georgia Bulldogs. Now, he's coming off of a visit to Georgia just this past weekend, so usually, you're coming off that visit high. There's a little momentum there for Georgia. But he was there to see them take on Missouri and get that win. He's set to visit Colorado this upcoming week as they take on Arizona. And then he will be in Knoxville when Tennessee takes on the Georgia Bulldogs. Excuse me. Goes on to say he's the number 91 overall prospect, number 9 corner in the 2024 cycle. You can see there the tweet that we just looked at. It says here the Bulldogs currently have the lead for Michael's pledge, according to the On3 recruiting prediction machine. Again, that's not everything. Here's the quote from Michael. Says they talked to me about how they really want me there and how good of a player I can be. The coaches talked to me about the different positions I could play and how they could use me. Now it goes on to talk about Colorado and Tennessee also being in the mix. Again, those are the top 3 schools I'm hearing is Georgia, Colorado, Tennessee. Says here Michael listed as a corner, 6 foot, 180 pounder, has shown plenty of interest in playing wide receiver at the college level. South Carolina received an official visit in June, while Colorado, Tennessee, and Texas A&M all had Michael on campus this fall. Here's the quote about Tennessee. It says, I really enjoyed the game day atmosphere. My first game here, so I would say it was probably one of the loudest games I've been to. The fans here are all really into it. A lot different than the other places, I would say. I love how their fight song is probably one of the best I've heard. When I was with the players, it was cool to be around them. I feel comfortable here. Says both Tennessee and Colorado have made splashes with Michael throughout his recruitment due to their willingness for playing the athlete on both sides of the ball. Dion and the Buffaloes recently acquired the pledge of Michael's Statesboro teammate, 4-star edge, Amontre Bradford. Here's the last quote. It says, when I was talking to Bradford, I asked him, would him and Cam end up at the same school? His words were 90% likely. That's from Chad Simmons talking to Cam Michael. If that's the case, that bodes well for Colorado. So again, Tennessee, Colorado, Georgia, all in the mix there. This is from Chad Simmons. This is just recent. This is from yesterday, the Simmons scoop. Says here Georgia seemed to gain a little momentum over the weekend when they had Cam Michael back in town. The 4-star corner being recruited primarily as wide receiver. Out of Statesboro was in Athens for the first time since his official visit in the spring, and the Bulldogs made sure he knew he was a top priority. Goes on to say Michael stayed the night in Athens hanging with other recruits and players while in town. He got a lot of attention from Brian McClendon. And with the commitment date set for November the 23rd, Georgia has put itself in a good position. As reported before, Texas A&M has faded in its race, and it's down to Colorado, Georgia, and Tennessee. Michael will now return to Boulder this weekend, Knoxville next weekend before making his decision. So, again, Tennessee gets that last visit. Tennessee gets that last visit against Georgia. And I know a lot of you are going to say, yeah, Tennessee's playing Georgia that week. Georgia just so happens to be right in the mix for Cam Michael as well. How important is it to win that game? I don't really think that's a big factor. I think the wins and losses, the only time it's a concern is if you're losing, 5, 6, 7 games and a coach could potentially be on the hot seat. I think that's when it impacts it. but I don't think that Georgia game is going to carry much weight. But Tennessee, again, will have the last visit going in the decision coming up on November the 23rd. You guys jump into the comment section. Let me know if you want some more recruiting videos. You want me to go more in-depth with guys like Kai Bates, guys like Jordan Seaton. Kind of an eerily quiet morning. Not a whole lot of talk about Tennessee, Missouri, even though that is a huge football game coming up on Saturday, and we will continue to break that down as the week goes on. Do me a favor on the way out the door, smash the thumbs up. Like I said, jump into the comment section. Let's talk some Tennessee football. Go check out all the merchandise. You guys know where. The link's in the description below, but you can go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. But that is going to do it for this one. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.